Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I wanted to really go over some of the latest news and notes surrounding the New York Jets. There's so much happening, right? We had the Joe Douglas press conference, 53-man roster, practice squad. We had Douglas and Salah's comments on the whole Hassan Reddick situation. And obviously the regular season starts in a week and a half. So tons to look forward to. I am so excited. But let's dive into this first piece of news here. According to Robert Saleh, Mike Williams is back. And not only is he just back practicing in team drills, but he's going to play and be ready for week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Saleh did say that the organization is going to be smart about it. They're not just going to, throw him out there and just really just push it 100%. They will take their time with it. Now, as far as snap count percentages and whatnot, will Mike Williams be out there 15% of the time or 80% of the time? I'm not sure, but you got to imagine that it's going to be a decent amount. We're not just going to see Mike Williams out there for 2-3 plays. From the Jets' perspective, just keep the Niners guessing. I don't think it hurts the Jets at all to go down that route. I think it could only benefit them, even if it's just a small percentage. It's still a benefit. And look, if Mike Williams is healthy, right, if he's out there playing every game this season, or if he plays, I want to say the majority of the season, 1,000 yards is totally reasonable. It's totally fair, right? I would say the majority of Jets fans are really excited to see what a healthy Mike Williams can do with a healthy Aaron Rodgers and an effective running game. You look at what Mike Williams presents from a physical standpoint: catch radius, speed, deep ball ability, deep ball tracking, big play machine. That's really, I felt like every time Mike Williams came down with a pass downfield, Herbert was just like down, extending a play and just launching it deep, and then somehow Mike Williams was just down there and he'd come down with this miraculous grab. So look, if Mike Williams again is healthy and he could be our solid wide receiver 2, this is not news, this is not shocking, this is not surprising, but I think the Jets really, They could have potentially landed a steal here. Next up, sticking with the injuries, Michael Carter's back too. Now, Michael Carter missed a ton. He missed a ton of time in training camp, right? He missed a bunch of joint practices. Obviously, didn't play in any preseason games. And Saleh downplayed the injury when it initially happened. And I was kind of thinking, okay, well, Michael Carter should probably just miss a week, but he missed a lot more than that. For reference, Michael Carter got hurt in the week leading up to the Washington preseason game before the joint practice. I believe it was actually on a Wednesday. And, again, because he's back practicing, awesome, sweet. Michael Carter's one of the best slot corners in football. That's not an over-exaggeration. I would literally say he's a top 5 guy in that department. But it's also important to get him back now, right? Still late August. Today's the 30th. We have the 31st tomorrow. And then we still have, at least a solid week of practice before the San Francisco 49ers matchup, as opposed to potentially getting Carter back, which is good news, but it's like 3 days before the game. And it's like, okay, yeah, great. Carter's, a fantastic player. It's going to help to have him back, but he's missed weeks upon weeks of practices. So ideally, in a perfect world, you want to get your guys back as soon as possible, but I'm just thankful that Carter is back now, as opposed to getting cleared September 6th or September 7th or something, just a handful of days before the game. So to have Michael Carter back is going to be huge. You look at all of the pre-snap motion and all of the sideline to sideline stuff that the 49ers do offensively. It's so important to have a guy like that to cover the inside, because look, if Michael Carter couldn't go week 1, I think we would be in trouble. I think Kyle Shanahan would try to exploit that weakness, but good news, he's back. Now, sticking with that week 1 matchup, Aiyuk signed the massive deal, right? The 4-year contract, I think it was 4 years, 120, making Brandon Aiyuk one of the highest paid players in the National Football League. I believe right around $30 million annually. So he's back practicing. He's good to go. He will be playing against the Jets in week 1. Trent Williams, on the other hand, is still holding out, though. So massive piece. I mean, we don't even need to talk about how good Trent Williams is, but I think ultimately Williams will be out there, but the fact that he's still holding out is pretty eye-opening, right? You know, if the Jets are in a position where he actually holds out in a regular season game, again, I doubt it. But if that's the case, I mean, man, you want to talk about giving the leg up to the Jets pass rush. So, you know, a situation to monitor for sure. Now, there was a couple other injury updates, some injury news with the 49ers, right? Gross Matos on the D-line, Leonard Floyd on the D-line. Both players got hurt, I believe, in preseason. I know Floyd got had to be taken out of a preseason game. They both had MRIs, and it doesn't sound too serious for Leonard Floyd. But again, Aiyuk is there. Trent Williams is not. And last but not least, Jason Brownlee was waived off of the 53-man roster in exchange for UDFA former Kentucky Wildcat Brendan Bates. More so a blocking tight end, but actually showed some promise, having 100 receiving yards in preseason with the Chicago Bears. The Jets claimed Bates off of Chicago and placed him on the 53 as that tight end number 3. And also, something to make a note of too, the Jets have a lot of tight ends here. Right, Conklin, Rutgert, Bates, those are the 3 active. We have Anthony Ferkser on the practice squad, and then Kenny Yeboah on IR. So I'm assuming when Yeboah comes back, there's probably going to be some sort of move that's made, whether it's releasing Ferkser or taking Bates and putting him back on putting him on the Jets practice squad. We'll see how it plays out, but Jason Brownlee cleared waivers. There was there was a thought that, okay, Brownlee has flashed in the past. Obviously, last preseason he looked really, really solid, and of course has likable traits with size and, you know, red zone ability and whatnot. There was a thought that he was going to be claimed, but he didn't. Right, Jason Brownlee did not get claimed, so he passed through waivers, and the Jets are hoping to get him back to the practice squad. I honestly would not be surprised if we get that news later on today or tomorrow at some point. I don't see him hanging around for too much longer just out there. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and as always, go Jets.